there. Welcome to year 2021. I know that 2020 was a very unpredictable year and a lot of events unfolded all over the world. And this year, I want us to have the mindset of hope, faith, and that everything is going to work out for us. And this is just a new beginning. Although we don't know what this year holds, we never really do know what tomorrow holds, to be honest. You just have to trust God. And I'm grateful that we all made it into this year. So Happy New Year. Yay. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me in this video. If you clicked on this video by chance, thank you. And I hope that you do stay tuned. If you have not subscribed to my video, I hope that you do subscribe to my video. And there are going to be a lot of insightful topics that will be discussed on this channel. Please, once you're done with this video, also check out the other previous videos that I recorded, as well as there may be a topic or two that's relative to whatever it is that you may be going through. So please stay tuned, subscribe, be on the lookout, hit the notification bell, and I'll get right into today's topic. It's a topic that I think a lot of people shy away from, and you'll understand why I say that as I move along. But just a quick question. Do you know a professional victim? You're probably wondering what that is. It's exactly what it sounds like. A professional victim. Someone that loves to play the victim, right? Everything around them that's happening, it's someone else's fault. Right? They're the victim. Woe is me. Woe is me. Unfortunately, there are some people that are like that. There are some people that have that mindset of always being the victim, always blaming other people for the things that are not going right in their life. So I wanted to address that today. And I think that this is actually the best time to do so, because I'm hoping, very hopeful that as I go into this topic today, whoever may need to hear this will come across this video and will be able to pick out a thing or two in order to change their mindset and change their outlook on life so that you can actually have a very productive, positive year moving forward. I want us to start this year on the right foot with the right mindset, right? And the only way to do that is to literally listen to this video and do exactly what I'm saying in this video if you are a professional victim. If you're not sure that you're a professional victim, stay tuned. I will explain to you exactly what that entails shortly. So this episode, I will be talking about accountability. I know it's a hard word. It's a hard word because a lot of people do not like to take accountability. I think that a lot of people, I would say, love the idea of perfection, right? And to be honest with you, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Absolutely no one is perfect. Oh, so accountability is key. It's very vital. If you're interacting with other people, as long as you are alive and you're human, you will make mistakes. There will be some things that are as a result of the mistakes that you made. So it is important to take accountability. Okay, so this is what I will be discussing in this episode, and just basically to help us understand the importance of accountability and how we may be neglecting that very huge important factor in our lives and how it's affecting things around us. And hopefully we can change, our mindset towards this. So I do know a lot of people, or some people, that are professional victims. It's really sad. It's sad simply because sometimes they are not aware that they are professional victims. Have you ever spoken to someone and every story they tell you about things that went wrong, it's always blaming someone else? You'll hear people say, I didn't get that job because he didn't like me, or the manager didn't like me. How can a manager that doesn't really know you not like you? How? Okay, another one. Or someone will basically say, this happened to me because this person did this. My life is in disarray because I have enemies. One of my pet peeves is honestly the word enemies. I'll tell you why. You have people that are casting and binding prayer warriors, right? They cast and bind, every enemy shall die, no one's dying. Stop. Nobody is going to die from your prayer. Stop it. Okay? Most of the time, you are your worst enemy. This video is going to be extremely raw. So please, take it as it is, because this is just the honest truth. And I feel as though a lot of times we tend to sugarcoat things for people. We sugarcoat things for people because we don't want to hurt their feelings. And sometimes it's not okay to sugarcoat. Sometimes you have to hit them with the raw truth. And here it is. I do not believe in this enemy, this person. Yes, some people may dislike you, right? Completely normal. Because guess what? Not everyone is going to like you. You have to understand that, and that's okay. It doesn't mean they hate you. They may not like one or two things about you. You are not for everyone, and that's okay. But to walk around with the mindset of, I have enemies, they're out to kill me. The reason why my marriage failed is because my enemies. The reason why I can't keep a job is because my enemies are out to get me. So I bind them, I rebuke them, they die. Yeah, no, let's not. Let's really not. That's wrong. Okay? You're just wasting your time praying these types of prayer of bind and die and all these things. First and foremost, this is not what I'm going to talk about, but first and foremost, if you are a Christian, right, you should never pray for anyone to die. To me, that's very evil. Okay? That is extremely, extremely evil-minded, to pray for someone else to die. That should never be a prayer point if you call yourself a Christian. Your prayer point should be for them, whoever you think your enemy is. Your prayer point, honestly, from the Bible, biblical standpoint, your prayer point should be for God to touch their mind, change their lives, and make them have joy. Pray positive things for them, right? Because most times, people do not really hate you. They're just miserable. As a result, they say negative things about you, and they try to project their negativity onto you, right? Have you ever met someone that was upset because someone else is doing well? I know a couple of them. Yeah, sadly, I know a couple of them. They're upset because someone else is doing well. It's not because they hate that person. Is it wrong to have that mindset? Absolutely. Absolutely wrong, because you're blocking your own blessings. In the next video, I will be talking about blessings. But you're blocking your own blessings by hating someone else because you're doing well. But it's not, they don't hate you for doing well because, you're doing well. They literally are projecting their misery onto you, right? So would I now pray for that person to die? No, sweetheart, no, you don't pray for someone to die. You pray for God to touch them, bring them joy, bring them some type of positivity, right? Change their mindsets. That's what your prayer should be about. Because I believe that if they were to have some type of joy in their life, they wouldn't be so bothered by your successes. They wouldn't be so bothered by your blessings. You pray for their mindset to change, because obviously we can all agree they have the wrong mindset. So praying for them to die and thinking that they are after you, it's wrong. Another point is this. Even if, right, let's take it a little deeper. Even if this particular person or these sets of people are jealous of your blessings, your growth, and all these other things, as a child of God, you should already know your standing, right? Which is why it's important to know your standing in Christ. You should know your standing. You should know that they have no power over you. There's absolutely nothing they can do to come and cut off your blessing. It's not possible. So they can hate from outside of the club, but they can't get in. That's what you need to understand. So there's really no need for you to start casting and binding and rebuking and killing. And I literally cringe every time I hear a prayer that's casting and binding and killing, especially the killing part. Because I don't wish for anyone to die. I really don't. I don't care if you hate me, you dislike me, you want to kill me. I don't wish for you to die. You can't kill me. And that's that. That's just my belief. It doesn't have to be yours, but that's my belief. And as a result of the mindset of you can't really hurt me, especially you can't kill me, with your evil thoughts, me having that mindset, it makes me pray positive prayers for the people that may or may not dislike things that I do. I pray for them to have peace. Because if they truly had peace, they would never be jealous of your growth or your successes. They would never want you to fail. So just pray positive prayers for them. I digressed. But back to what I was talking about. Back to what I was talking about with accountability. So a lot of people are not accountable. They're not accountable to their hand in the demise that's happening around them. I'm trying not to be too specific in this video, so if I pause a little, please understand I'm trying not to be too specific because I don't want people to take this the wrong way. I don't want anyone to feel as though I'm talking about them directly, although whether you know me or not, you may feel like this video is about you. That's fine. Then if the shoe fits, wear it, lace it up, and change something. Change something so it fits a little better. With that being said, I find that accountability is key. So normally, every end of the year, people make posts about what they're cutting off, who they're cutting off, and these sets of people are not coming with me into the new year, and so on and so forth. And, I see those posts and I honestly laugh. I laugh at it every single year. I haven't seen any this year and 2020. And I think that it's because of the unexpected events that unfolded for 2020. A lot of people were shaken by it. So their thoughts really weren't about, cutting people off and so on and so forth. I did see a couple of them, but it wasn't as much. And I think that having lost a lot of people in 2020, maybe they had a new outlook on life. And as a result, they're not in the mindset of cutting people off. But typically, this is the posts that people post online. And the reason why I laugh at these posts is simply because of this. The following year, right, every time they say I'm going to cut someone off, the new year, they're still in the same predicament. Nothing changes. It's just another day. You know why it's just another day? Because they're the problem. I see people say I'm going to cut this toxic person off. And if I know them personally, I don't solicit advice to people. I really don't. I don't come to people and give them advice unless they ask me about it, whether I know you or not. I just don't. I don't because I understand that everyone may not need or want to hear what you have to say at that moment. If they do ask my opinion, I'm very honest with the people around me about what I believe and what I think the problem is based on my understanding. However, I do know a couple of people that say they're going to cut a toxic person off. And based on what I know about them, in my mind, I'm like, you're the toxic one. They're not toxic, And it's hard for us to look back in the mirror. That's one of the things that we have to understand. It's extremely difficult for some of us to look into the mirror, look at our faults, look at our shortcomings, and fix it. So what we tend to do, because then once we look into the mirror to see our shortcomings and our where we're messing up at, it basically tells us that you're not perfect. And for some reason, we don't like to hear that. We don't like to hear that we're not perfect. It's hard for us to admit that we need to do some work in order to grow. It's very hard, right? Especially as an adult. I think kids are more open to it because they're still growing, right? And for adults, you feel like you've come of age. I'm fine. I'm perfect. Nothing's wrong. So it's really hard for us to have that self-reflection, but self-reflection is so important, so important, so important. In order for us to actually grow, self-reflection is key. It's a major, major key. So it's hard for us to take a look in the mirror in order for us to address the shortcomings and in order for us to fix it and grow. So what we tend to do is we tend to put it all on other people. We don't address what we're doing wrong, right? If a person's marriage failed, for example, they tend to blame everyone else. Oh, it was her friend. It was his friend. If your marriage was truly that solid, right? It can be your fault, your partner's fault. The point is, it's in-house. It's not outside. Because if both of you built a really strong bond and you understood each other and you were committed to the marriage, there is no third party that can come in and tell you or your partner something that will break your marriage. If both of you are truly committed and you are, you're bonded, truly, right? So if you're treating your partner really badly, for example, if you're treating your partner really badly, you're not speaking to their love languages. I will address love languages in another video. If you are not speaking into their love language, right, you're not loving them the right way based on how they receive love, what they consider love, their love language, guess what? You cannot possibly blame someone else outside of your home for the demise of your relationship. You failed to put the work in your marriage. As a result, it broke. It's no one else's fault but you and your partner's fault, whichever one, right? So situations like that, we tend to want to blame the third party. Another example is this. I mentioned something about going to get a job earlier and, you not getting the job because you felt as though the manager didn't like you and so on and so forth. If you don't know the manager, how will he or she not like you? Unless it has something to do with racism. But other than that, why would they not like you? Right? Did you check your resume? Did you make sure that you actually, your resume was put together? Did you prep before going? What were you wearing? Were you dressed professionally? Were you able to express your thoughts in a cohesive manner where they can understand what you're saying? Were you able to sell yourself? Did you sell yourself short? Right? In that type of situation, it's no one else's fault but yours. Another example. I know someone that is making six figures. He's doing quite well, right? And for some odd reason, he makes really terrible financial decisions, right? As a result of him making horrible financial decisions, he's always in lack. He's always in need of extra funds. Can I hold this? Can I hold that? Right? People create situations that are not favorable to them. And then they try to put the burden on other people. And when those other people are not able to come and cover for them, because those other people have their own lives as well. So it's not ideal for you to expect someone to come and clean up your mess every single time. You're an adult. Come on, right? So when other people are not able to come in and clean up their mess, what tends to happen is, you hate me. You don't want me to do well. I want you to do well. I just can't clean up your mess this time or every single time, right? I think that it's important for us to take accountability of how we're managing our lives, the things that we are doing in order to make sure that we are not the cause of the demise in our lives. Because what tends to happen is this, right? You create a huge mess with your life, not properly planning, not organizing yourself and your life and, just planning in general, right? You create this huge mess. Then you expect the people around you to come and clean up the mess that you constantly keep creating, right? When they're unable to do that, you start to say, they hate me, they never did nothing for me. And this is another thing about people. You can do everything in the world for people. The one moment or the one time that you are unable to do one thing, you're a horrible person. Oh, that person hates me. That person doesn't like me. You're a horrible person. That's just how humans are for some weird reason. It's really rare to find a person that's not like that, that doesn't have that mindset, that's appreciative for even the one thing that you did do. A lot of us feel very entitled. It's wrong. It's wrong. Because what you're going to end up doing is you are going to end up severing different relationships. You are going to end up ruining great relationships because you're not accountable, you feel entitled, and it's horrible. And you don't want to be the toxic person in other people's lives. As much as we don't want toxicity around us, we also have to make sure that we are not the toxic one in the relationship, in the friendships, in whatever the ship is. Make sure that you are not the toxic person. The only way to do that is to be accountable. You listen to some people's stories, you hang out with a friend, you listen to their stories, and, you know, they're telling you, oh, you know, in when I was born, you know, my mom and dad, I was crying one time, and my mom and dad didn't pick me up, and that's why my life is ruined. Really? Really? Yeah, I hear those kind of stories. And I just laugh at it because you're an adult. Yeah, you're an adult. At least in your 30s, right? Even if you're in your 20s, you're an adult, okay? Not being picked up one time when you were a baby has absolutely nothing to do with the way your life is now. We tend to blame things that happened 1,000 years ago. Sweetheart, it's time to heal. You are responsible for your healing. No one else is responsible for your healing but you. Because then what tends to happen is you tend to make bad decisions and you blame it on an event that took place 30,000 years ago. You have to heal. You can't come into someone's life bleeding and expect them to constantly clean up and patch you up and clean up and patch you up. Honestly, no one wants to keep cleaning you up and patching you up and constantly, and you keep recutting that same wound over and over again. At some point it becomes annoying because now you're a burden to their life. You never want to be a burden to someone's life. You never want to just only have negative conversations with people. If every time I hang around you, all you speak about is negative things about people, oh, that one, I don't like her. You know, she did X, Y, and Z to me 30 years ago, and that's why this happened. That's why I'm still here. Oh, that one? Oh, nah. Oh, it's always something negative. I hate negative energy. Highly dislike negative energy. And I do the best that I can to censor and caution and basically analyze myself when I'm interacting with people to make sure that I'm not giving the negative energy that I hate so much. Because sometimes we do it unknowingly, right? So it's important to have some type of self-reflection. Honestly, here's one thing about me. When I meet someone or I interact with someone, I'm usually in my own space for the most part. And I love my space. I really do. But when I do step outside of my space and I do interact with other people, or I meet someone for the first time, after the meeting, I don't know why I do this. Some people probably do this too. I don't know, but I do it. So after the meeting, what I do is I tend to go over in my head how the meeting went. How was the conversation? What did I say out of my mouth? Was it positive? Was it okay? Did it come off this way? Did it come off that way? Because sometimes when you're talking to someone, you may say things that comes off a wrong way. As a result, they take it however way they want to take it. They run with it, right? What they say, first impression is highly important. It's long lasting or whatever. So I always go over how my meeting went with people. I try to go over the interaction that I've had with people, and because I really believe in energy. I really do. I think it's really important to pay attention to energies. You don't want to put out negative energy. You also don't want to be the person that quenches or tries to quench someone's positive energy. You don't want to be a pessimist. You don't want to be a Debbie Downer, right? So you don't want to always have something negative to constantly say about people or negative stories all the single time. Every time someone meets up with you, it's something negative, this blaming, that blaming, that blaming. So it is important to take accountability for what you're doing, how you're doing it. And even if you mess up, it's okay. It's okay if you mess up, right? Especially if you're just learning and of trying to be aware, basically, of what you're giving off. You have to be careful. You have to analyze it. But with time, it will become a part of you to just be positive to other people and try not to speak negatively about other people. With time, with practice, it will become who you truly are, right? But back to accountability. So this particular individual will always have something negative, right? And he can say, you know, this person did X, Y, and Z, and whoever he's speaking to will say, no, it wasn't that person. I did it, or this other person did it. And the individual will still find a way to, in his mind, to still say, no. I know it wasn't you and it wasn't that other person. It's this person. You know, you try to find a reason to blame that one person for something. You're also not taking accountability for what you did for that person to do whatever they did. One thing I always tell people is this, right? You can't possibly go up to someone and slap someone, right? And expect them not to do anything back to you. Once you lay your hands on someone, this is just an example, but once you initiate that contact to lay hands on someone, whether you slap them, punch them, kick them, it doesn't matter. If they end up stabbing you, right? You're not the victim here because you had no business laying your hands on someone else, right? You can't dictate how someone else reacts to what you do to them. A lot of people like to throw stones and hide their hands, and then they start to blame everyone else for what's happening. Stop doing that. You cannot control how someone else reacts to what you do. If you are initiating certain things, be mindful of what you're doing. You can only control yourself. Be mindful of what you're doing, what you're given, what it's given, right? Don't throw the stone, throw a punch, kick someone, and when they stab you, you're crying to everyone saying you're the victim. And this is exactly what a lot of people do. Not literally with the stabbing and no. But it's just an example just to show how we ourselves can be the cause of our own demise and be the cause of the things that are happening to us where we end up blaming other people for it. So it is important for us to be extremely accountable in order for us to actually heal and move on and be better. Because complete healing and growth can only take place once you start to hold yourself accountable. If you are not holding yourself accountable, I'm sorry to tell you, but there's no way you can possibly heal and grow if you're not self-reflecting, right? So this is a new year, and although we do need to constantly be mindful of negativity and try to remove them from our lives in order for us to have some type of peace in this world, we also have to search within ourselves in order to ensure that we are not the negativity that needs to be removed. This doesn't imply beating yourself up about your shortcomings. Absolutely not. Do not beat yourself up about your shortcomings. What you can do is reflect. This is where with love. Treat yourself with love always, but be honest with yourself. There is nothing wrong with being honest with yourself, but also treating yourself with love. Doing it with love the same way you would do it for someone else. Always love on yourself and correct yourself with love. Now, this doesn't imply beating yourself up about your shortcomings or your mistakes. However, being accountable will definitely kickstart the process of change and also growth, as well as forgiveness. Forgiving yourself. I will talk about forgiveness in another video because although I'm telling you to have some type of self-reflection, there are a lot of things that you may find in doing so. Forgiveness is key for others and for yourself. A lot of us are still where we are today mentally because we are yet to forgive ourselves for the shortcomings that we've had in the past. So with that being said, if you are yet to subscribe, please subscribe. Comment below. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to close this off. I want you to think as you go through this process alone. What ways can you improve? We're not perfect. We're not done growing. We're still growing. There are still some ways in which we can be better. You never stop learning. I don't care how intelligent you are, you never stop learning. So I want us to think for a moment, what ways can you improve? What are some things that you believe need some adjustments? Self-analysis is highly important for us to do so that we don't pass down our negativity to the next generation, as we are responsible for what we produce. And I'm quite certain that we all want this to be a better world for us to live in. And honestly, it starts with you. So please answer those questions. Try to figure out what ways you can improve. Don't beat yourself up about it. Talk to someone if you need to talk about it, just to, get it out. But it's a consistent process. So try working on yourself consistently and analyzing yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please subscribe if you have not done so. Hit that notification bell and please stay tuned for my next video. Thank you.